Everyone has their own idea of happiness, friendship, and relaxation. But what happens when these ideas don't align? Is that a problem, or is it just part of life? For my family, this was the reason for our breakup. Over the 2 years Evelyn and I were married, we never really clicked. Our schedules were constantly off, and we could never find the right balance. I'm a city guy, born and raised in the hustle and bustle of the capital. But Evelyn, she's from a small village nearby, and frankly, she felt smothered by the city life. When it came to relaxing, we were worlds apart. I thought there was nothing better than lounging on a chaise longue all day, sipping cocktails, and occasionally dipping into the pool. Evelyn, though, couldn't relax like that. She needed to be on the move, running around, overcoming challenges, and keeping up with her friends on the phone. For her, relaxation meant activity, anything but stillness. I realized early on that trying to get me to join her at a new health resort was a lost cause. Just look at the pictures, she'd say, showing me images of fancy rooms, treatment areas, saunas, and massage therapies. Yeah, sure, inhalations. You hated those when you were a kid. And what lived by a strict routine? No way. What would I even do there? Argue with old folks over mud wraps? Forget it. I'd shoot back. Well, Jack, look at the nature. There's a forest, fresh air, berries, and my mom is just a couple dozen kilometers away. Evelyn would try again, trying to lure me in. Nope, not happening. It's just not for me. But if you want, go ahead, take a friend and enjoy it. Get some paraffin wraps while you're at it, I'd say. She'd look disappointed. Evelyn, seriously, arrange it with your friends. If you want to go, go. Take your mom if she's up for it. It's close enough, right? As for me, elite is something I associate with Cognac or resorts. Not. Whatever this is, go have your vacation and send me some photos of the so-called elite stuff, I added. For the next couple of weeks, Evelyn couldn't stop raving about the place on the phone. She sent me pictures of her and her 2 friends lounging by the pool. Meanwhile, I spent my evenings in front of the sports channel with a cold beer, which, for me, was the ultimate way to unwind. When she came back, she had a cake, some champagne, and we had a little reunion celebration. Every evening, she went on and on about the treatments, the nature, and everything she enjoyed. But then, a week later, I got a strange message. Some guy named David wanted to be friends. He also claimed to have information about Evelyn's infidelity. I had no idea who this guy was, but I couldn't ignore him completely. He knew details only someone close to Evelyn would know. Names, dates, even the specifics of their time at the resort. Naturally, I turned to Evelyn with the question, "So what have you been doing? I wasn't there where you were turned on by some guy while I was at home, was I? Are you seriously saying that?" She shot back. "Did you meet anyone while you were there?" I pressed. I didn't really get to know each other, but in 2 weeks I definitely learned the ins and outs. In the evenings we sat on benches, played the guitar, and sang. "What's wrong with that?" she replied, as if justifying herself. "What's going on here?" I asked. "Did you cheat on me at your super elite resort?" I pushed again. "Of course not, and the only people there were pensioners. You won't find any younger guys there," she retorted. I took a deep breath and calmed down. Honestly, what kind of normal guy in his 30s would go for mud treatment? We maintain our health in completely different ways. But my new friend David didn't back down. He sent me some pretty convincing photos of Evelyn and her friends walking through the park under the trees. An hour later, I received an offer, not exactly $1 million one, but it was still a lot of money. This stranger offered to sell me some very provocative photos of Evelyn for a pretty decent sum. And those park pictures? Definitely a sign that this guy was serious. I decided to have a final conversation with Evelyn and try to get some answers. "All right, tell me everything about the resort," I started, trying to stay calm. Every little detail. How many people, who they were, what they did. and who they were with. Are you out of your mind? I spent the last 2 weeks telling you all the most interesting stuff, and you're still not listening," she snapped. I had to admit, she was right. I'd basically tuned her out. Many men, even those with only a little bit of family experience, will get what I mean. We just sort of adapt to the endless stream of words, filtering out the unnecessary stuff to avoid mental overload. "So quit nagging me," I shot back. "How many times have you cheated on me? Who's offering me your photos for money?" "Idiot. Not once. Leave me alone." "Have you been cheating on yourself? If you're dumb enough to fall for these scams, then pay up. Or take out a loan. That's how they fool fools," she snapped. It was a sharp comeback, and I had to admit, I hadn't considered the possibility that I was just being played. I wasn't out sleeping with anyone. I was just chilling, waiting for her to get back. So why would she do anything else? I apologized and gave her a hug, feeling a bit foolish. Of course, I didn't need to take out a loan, but the amount they were asking for was significant. That definitely stopped me from going any further. I sent a message back to my mysterious online friend, telling him I wasn't interested in his services, but he wasn't going to just let it go. His next message read, "It's nice to chat with a guy who trusts his woman so much, worries about her, and cares. Did you care that much when they removed the mole from her left breast and left that awful scar?" That's when I was hit with a wave of shock. Last year, Evelyn had surgery, an operation that, unfortunately, went wrong. She had a pretty noticeable scar, nearly a centimeter long. Not many knew about it, though. It was just me, the doctors, her parents, and maybe a couple of close friends. I transferred the money to the number provided, and within seconds, I received a huge archive. My hands were shaking as I opened the files and flipped through dozens of photos. There she was, in the arms of some guy from the countryside, then the two of them in the pool. Here, they were kissing, and in another, he was getting way too familiar with her. The whole thing was crystal clear. She was wearing different outfits, which meant this wasn't a one-time fling. And the tan, it was different too. The cherry on top was a short video of her in bed with the same guy. There was absolutely no room for doubt. I walked up to her with the laptop in my hands, turned the screen around, and showed her a couple of the pictures. "Jack, I didn't know how to tell you. He threatened me, forced me. I only did it that one time. Well, you know," Evelyn tried to explain, but it was clear she didn't have a convincing story ready. "You've been threatening me for 2 weeks, and now you're telling me this. Are you really eating your ice cream under threats too? Have the decency to admit you're just a shameless cheater." I told her, my voice cold. For a long time, she begged for forgiveness. Then, realizing there was no point in trying to save the relationship with lies, she finally came clean. "This is David, my ex from the village. We were really in love. I left him about 5 years ago and moved here. He tried to call me, but he couldn't leave his mom behind. I stayed, and I was hurt. Then, I met you and forgot about him. But, unexpectedly, I bumped into him at the sanatorium. He works as a cook. One day he's in the kitchen all day, the next he's off, resting. One evening, he came to me with wine, saying we should just talk. We sat, drank, laughed about old jokes. And then, well, my body remembered. That's how it started. Before he left, he said that since I'm living so well and could afford a luxury vacation, I should pay for his silence. I didn't think he was serious, but he tracked you down and leaked everything. The bastard. But I swear, it'll never happen again. Never. It was just one big mistake, she confessed, looking desperate. So here's my plan, honey. I said, pack your things. We're going to your mom's so I can take the defective goods. On the way, we can stop by your David's place. Either punch him in the face or have a cup of tea, it's up to you. As it turns out. And if you want, you can stay with him. You had a great time together, right? I've seen it in the photos. Evelyn began packing her suitcase, sobbing uncontrollably. I wanted to cry too, but I couldn't. I drove her to her dad's house, didn't even greet him, and dropped her off. Let her explain things there, if she could. I'm sure the whole village knew by now, and honestly, I didn't care. Let her sort it out however she wanted. What confused me, though, was how she thought she could spend 2 weeks with her ex, then come back to me, as if nothing had happened. I guess I should thank David, not only for the information, but also for testing Evelyn's loyalty. Sure, it cost me a bit, but I'm just glad I found out the truth in time.